بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين محمد وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين. Honorable scholars, my dear brothers and sisters, my co-panelists, Your Excellency the Ambassador of Iraq, Sister Hajj Najah, the MC, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. First, I would like to thank the organizers and the brothers and sisters in charge of UMAA conference for doing a great job, not only this year, but for the last 14 years. They have been bringing the entire UMAA together from across the United States and Canada, and they are providing us with opportunity to connect with one another and also to enrich our thoughts and our mind. So my sincere gratitude goes to those brothers and sisters organizing this conference and to the officials of UMAA conference. My dear brothers and sisters, I would like to speak for the next few minutes about the importance of being engaged in the political and social arena in the United States. Before I enter my talk, I would like to ask and address a very important question that we hardly address and we hardly talk about in our Islamic centers and in our public gatherings. And the question is this: what do we call America? Do we call it our home, or it's a country that we live in away from our old country? Is it a country that we feel a sense of belonging to? Or it is only an ATM machine we use, we work so hard, we transfer our wealth and money back home in the Middle East? Is the United States a country that we perceive as a home for our next generation, for our children and our grandchildren? Or it is a country of kafir, as some people say? How do we perceive America? Let me help you, my dear brothers and sisters, in our Muslim country to have a better perception of this country. Well, no doubt, we disagree with so many aspects of the foreign policy of the United States, particularly its foreign policy pertaining to the Middle East. No doubt in that. But does that make the United States a bad country? Does that make the United States a country that we should disown, just live in, enjoy the bounties of this country, but not have a sense of belonging? Let's go to Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam. And see how Imam Ali alayhi salam defines a good country. What does he say about a good country? Imam Ali alayhi salam defines a good country as such. He says, لَيْسَ بَلَدُكَ بِأَحَقٍّ بِكَ مِنْ بَلَدٍ. The country where you were born in is not closer to you than any other country. خَيْرُ الْبِلَادِ مَا حَمَلَكَ. The best country is the one that treats you well. Imam Ali alayhi salam was born in Mecca, and he lived 23 years in Mecca, around 35 years in Medina, and 5 years in Iraq. He did not say the best country is Mecca or Medina or Iraq. Rather, he said the best country is the one that treats you well, with dignity and respect. And I challenge anybody to tell me that this country, the United States, did not treat us with dignity and respect. There are almost 6 million Muslims live in this country. They are provided with a type of dignified life. Our children go to the best schools. When we get sick, we go to the best hospitals in the world. We have access to the best health care system. And when we get old, there is a social security service that takes care of us and our elderly ones. So this makes us think, my dear brothers and sisters, that there is no better home than the United States, and therefore we have to insist to be part and parcel of this country. And we have to be proud citizens of this country. And thus, we have to exercise our right to be good citizens and contribute to the betterment of this country, and to be involved in the political system, in the social system, and in the public life of this country. How do we do that, my dear brothers and sisters? How to get involved and how to be influential in this country? How to materialize our leverage and our influence into true change in this country? There are certain steps that we need to focus on. Number one is we need to focus on education. We need to insist to send our children to the best universities and colleges of this country. You always hear about Jews dominating the United States, dominating its political life, its media life, and ultimately its public life. Is that true? Yes, that is true. But what is not true is that Jews are not aliens who came from other planets and stars and they invaded the United States overnight. They became an influential community by investing in the educational institutions of this country. And that's why you see Jews going to the best colleges and universities. And those who are dominating life in this country, I mean the Jews, they are mostly graduate of the best colleges of this country. We need to do the same. We need to encourage our children to go to best colleges of the United States. And by the way, the colleges and universities of this country are the best in the world. 3 weeks ago, the Times of London newspaper published a list of the best universities in the world. Guess what? 45 out of 100 universities, the best universities in the world, are in the United States. 45. The other 55 are scattered all over Europe, Australia, and one country in the Middle East. Guess what country? Israel, unfortunately. And how many of those 100 are located in Muslim countries, Arab countries? Zero. Zero university. So my dear brothers and sisters, this is a key for success and excellence, to send our children to the best universities and to the best colleges of this country. Promoting education. You know, you always hear that Barack Obama is the first black president of the United States. Yes, that's true. But remember, Barack Obama graduated from Harvard. He did not become president of the United States for no reason, just because he's black. There are many other black people in this country. But he became a president partly because he graduated from the best university of this country. What does this tell you? That Those institutions that rule this country are not the military institutions, just as it is the case in many Muslim countries. Rather, it is the educational institutions. So, that's number one. Number two, in order, and by the way, in some Muslim communities in the United States, there is much emphasis on one field. Families telling their children to be what? Doctors. Well, to be a doctor is a good thing, no doubt. But we need more than doctors. We need lawyers. We need filmmakers. We need journalists. We need people who are specialized in the most sophisticated aspects of education and life in this country, not only doctors. We have to be all over this country so we can assert our role as a viable and strong community in the United States. Number two, register for vote and vote. Remember, in America, the only way to influence the political system is by exercising your political right and by voting. And that's how the Jews did it. Though they are only 1% of the US population, they dominate the electoral vote. In New York City, Jews form, any idea how much they form of the population, New York population? Any idea? I know 6 million, but out of the entire New York population, do you know how many? What do they represent percentage-wise? You will be shocked. 9% only. 9% of New York's population are Jews. You always hear 90%, right? That's not true. Jews represent only 9% of the population in New York. However, they represent 90% of its electoral vote, meaning that those who go to the voting booth, 90% of them are Jews. And that's why they influence the system. Many people are careless. They don't care. They tell you it's not going to make a big difference. Your vote will make a big difference, my dear brothers and sisters. Stop saying, I'm not going to bring about any change. You can. In 2000, George W. Bush won the election of the President of the United States by how many votes? 500 votes, those who remember, in Florida. Only 500 votes. And I heard it from Congressman Conyers, who told me once that the first time he ran for the Congress 45 years ago, he won his seat in the US Congress by 28 votes. 28 votes was the difference between him and the next person after him. 28 votes. So please, Muslims, use your vote wisely. Go register. Especially this election, 2016 presidential election is it's a big deal. And it is going to be a historic election in the history of the United States. Why? Because we have some bigots running for president. And we need to make sure that those bigots, we have to do everything in our legal power to deny those bigots access to the White House. Otherwise, November comes and we find that Donald Trump becoming the president of the United States, a Muslim basher, a Muslim hater, someone who hates us all, and who believes that we do not belong to this country, that is going to be a big deal. Therefore, my dear brothers and sisters, go register your vote now and make sure that you deny Donald Trump access to the White House. Encourage your youth, your young men and women in your community to run for office. I just said it a few minutes ago. We all want to send our kids to medical school so they become doctors. How about becoming senators, House representatives, politicians? I know many of you say that, being a politician is not a good thing. It's a filthy job. Forgive me, Mr. Ambassador. But, there is a say in America, they say politicians are like human sperm. 1 out of 1 million become human being. But there are some good politicians. Yes, I agree with you. Being politician is tainted with manipulation and scam, but there are many good politicians. Imam Ali alayhi salam was a great politician. Our holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi, la sallu alayhi wa, was the greatest politician. I'm not talking about politicians like Donald Trump or Ted Cruz or Hillary Clinton. I'm talking about moral and ethical politicians. Let the world see the true politicians who demonstrate morality and ethics. So encourage your children to run for offices in the United States, whether on the local level or national level. We in Michigan, we did it. 20 years ago, we did not have any Muslim judge. In Dearborn only we have now 3 judges, and I guess one of them is Judge David Torfa. He must be here. Few years ago, we never had any member of the city council of our own. Now we have 3. The head of the city council in Dearborn is a Shia Muslim female, Suzanne DeBadger. We have so many Muslim mayors. Some of them are Shia mayors, Muslim Shia mayors in the United States. This shows, my dear brothers and sisters, that when we participate and when we become part of the system, it pays off. Don't say, my vote is not going to help. Now, I know some people say it's a Kafir country, it's a Zionist country, I should not be part of it, and I should not, be part of the system at all. But for those people who think that way, I have good news for them. I want to tell them that the minute your foot touches the soil of the United States, when you migrate, you are participating in the system. By paying your taxes to Uncle Sam, you are participating in the system without you know it. So all we're saying is participate in a good way. Otherwise, you will be participating in a bad way indirectly. You will be allowing your taxes going to Uncle Sam and maybe to Israel without your approval. At least be part of the system and tell Uncle Sam, where do you want your taxes to go? Tell them that we want our money to go to education, not to bullets to be sent to Israel so Israel can kill the Palestinians. So, how much time I have? 5 more minutes? Can I borrow another 5 minutes? Number 4, my dear brothers and sisters, encourage activism in your relevant community. Stay relevant. What I mean by that, we typically Muslims care about issues that we only Muslims care about. Let me give you an example. I'm of Iraqi descent. I mostly care about Iraq and what's happening in Iraq. If you're originally from Pakistan and India, you care about what's happening in India and Pakistan. And that's rightfully so, nothing wrong with that. But remember, if you live in America, you have to also care about the American society. When there is an issue called Black Lives Matter, we have to be part of it. When there is oppression in this country against any minority, we have to be part of it. Not part of the oppression. I mean, we have to be part of the movement against that oppression. When there is a national catastrophe, like, for example, the flood in Louisiana, what is called the Katrina, or Hurricane Sanders, and there are thousands of people and citizens affected in this country, we have to be part of it. We have to raise funds. We have to help. When there is an earthquake in Haiti, let's be the first people to extend the hand of help by sending help to Haiti and those affected areas, not only in Pakistan and Iran. Even when there is a tragedy in a non-Muslim country, in a non-Muslim state, we have to be part of it, and we have to show the humanitarian side of our faith by being actively participating. So, we need to write essays in local newspapers. We need to encourage our youth to utilize social media such as Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, etc., in disseminating the message of Islam, not only by talking about Islam and the Muslim community, rather by also talking about universal values that we all share and we all believe in. A few days ago, I was watching a speech given by a sister. Her name is Maryam Jalloul. She gave a beautiful speech, a Muslim sister. She gave a beautiful speech at the commencement of Harvard University, class 2016. A beautiful speech. She did not talk about Islam, but the fact that she was wearing hijab and giving the commencement speech at Harvard University to thousands of people who are considered the elite of this country, that's a good propagation for our religion and for our Muslim community. That we Muslims are active and proactive in the public life of this country, and we do care. So, when we participate in any efforts, my dear brothers and sisters, make sure that you put your ID on display. What I mean by that is sometimes Muslims are intimidated by revealing their identity. So his name is Muhammad, he changes his name to Mike. His name is Ali, he becomes Alex. Every time I meet a Jewish person in this country, he or she will make sure that I would know that he or she is a Jew in the first minute of our conversation. But with us Muslims, sometimes we try to hide our identity. Don't be ashamed of your identity as Muslim. Do not be ashamed of telling people that, yes, I'm a Shia Muslim, and I'm proud to be a Shia Muslim. And yesterday in Khutbat al-Jum'ah, I said, and it is put in YouTube now, I said, tell Americans who complain why Muslims do not talk about ISIS, why they do not condemn ISIS, tell them that now, in this minute I'm talking to you, it is Shia Muslims who are fighting ISIS in Fallujah in Iraq. It is Muslims who are spearheading the war against terrorism and extremism. And let America know these facts, because many Americans often do not know that. Let them know these facts. Let them know that we are against Daesh, we are against ISIS, and indeed, Daesh and ISIS have killed more Muslims than non-Muslims. Many Americans do not know these things. They think that we all support Daesh, we all support ISIS. That's not true, completely not true. The main victims of ISIS today are Muslims themselves. Let America know these things. So, and finally, my dear brothers and sisters, Al-Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq alayhi salam says, كونوا دعاة لنا بغير ألسنتكم. The best way to affect non-Muslims, to make them understand our religion and to have a good perception of our religion and our faith, is not by talking too much, rather by not talking too much and acting so much. When we walk the walk and talk the talk, then we can prove to America that we are a good community. When we show them that we do care about the pain and suffering of people around the world, not only Muslims, we tell them that we are true Americans. Tell them the story of Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam. That when he was walking one day in the streets of Kufa, and he was the Khalifa, the Caliph, the head of the state, and he looked at an elderly man sitting on the corner of the street begging for cash. The Imam was so upset that he said, "Ma hada, what is this?" Some people thought that the Imam is asking about his identity. They told him, "Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen, innahu Nasrani." He's a Christian. Why you should care? The Imam doesn't care if he's a Christian or Muslim. That scene of an elderly human being begging for cash struck Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam and made him so upset. Even if the man is a Christian, because Amir al-Mu'mineen, to be honest with you, didn't care about these things. Didn't care if the needy person is a Muslim or non-Muslim. He cared about humans. It is him who said, "An-nasu sanfan." People are of two kinds. إِمَّا أَخٌ لَكَ فِي الدِّينِ أَوْ نَظِيرٌ لَكَ فِي الْخَلْقِ. People are of two kinds. Either they are your brothers in faith, or they are your brothers in humanity. Imam Ali didn't care if the beggar was a Christian, in the sense that if they tell him the beggar is a Christian, he will say, "Well, it's okay then." No. The Imam says, "Ma hada." I didn't ask you about his identity. I asked you about this conspicuous scene of an elderly man begging for cash. استعملتموه قويا ونبذتموه ضعيفا. When he was strong, you used him. You took advantage of him. You exploited his physical labor. But now that he is an elderly, you toss him away. أنفقوا عليه من بيت المال. I don't care if he's a Christian. Give him money from the treasury of Muslims. Take care of him. This is something that Ali ibn Abi Talib will never tolerate. Tell America this is the true Islam, my dear brothers and sisters. And the Quran summoned the mission of our Prophet in one word. وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَاكَ إِلَّا رَحْمَةً لِلْعَالَمِينَ. Islam did not come to teach people only how to pray, how to fast, how to go to Hajj and pay khums and zakah. But rather Islam came to tell us that number one mission for Prophet Muhammad is to be rahmah and mercy for the entire mankind. Thank you so much, my dear brothers and sisters. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.